Hi fight fans, thanks for listening to this video. Again, don't forget to rate, subscribe, leave your comments and share the love. I'm going to be talking about George Groves versus Martin Murray, a fight that I saw that could have happened a long time ago, and now it's going to possibly happen sometime in around May. That's what I'm hearing at the moment. What I mean by being a fight that could happen a long time ago is an obvious fight that could have been made. Had George Groves become world champion and beaten Badou Jack, you could have seen probably Martin Murray being his first defence. That's what I mean by that. Assuming George Groves didn't beat Badou Jack, a fight which I said to a lot of people he wouldn't win in, we now have a situation where you've got Martin Murray, another guy I said wouldn't beat Arthur Abraham in a world title fight, when everyone thought it was a dead cert that Martin Murray could do it because they thought Martin Murray was a better fighter than Paul Smith. Well, anyway, so we've got the fight coming up between George Groves and Martin Murray. From my outlook of things, it's like this: it's one fighter, Martin Murray, who needs to change his trainer, versus George Groves, who's always changing trainers. So after a loss, and they both lose at world title level. Martin Murray can be excused for world title defeats in the past against Martinez, Sturm, but he can't be excused for the Golovkin performance because it was just a one-way drubbing, which I said to everybody it would be, just a walking punch bag. That is what I saw the Martin Murray versus Golovkin fight would be, because Martin Murray is not a power puncher, not at world level anyway. He's big, he's strong, but he's not physically he's not a big puncher. He's strong, he takes a good shot, and he's durable. Actually, the type of guy that would give, I think, George Groves fits, because after 6 rounds, George Groves, if Martin Murray is still around and George Groves is still there, I think George Groves is going to be a lot of trouble against Martin Murray, because Martin Murray holds a shot very well. It's very tough and strong, and physically could bully George Groves in the second half of a fight. But anyway, my reasons for this is saying that Martin Murray should change his trainer, because his trainer said that, and if you listen to him in the corner out there in Germany, he was talking about messing Arthur Abraham around for a couple of rounds. I believe if Martin Murray had gone from round 1 to round 12 working the body, to Arthur Abraham bringing their arms down and looking for later for an onslaught, I believe Martin Murray could have forced either a late stoppage, meaning Abraham being in overwhelmed, because I think Martin Murray is physically stronger than Paul Smith. I actually think he's a better boxer than Paul Smith. I just think his trainer is not very good, and I think he has a genuine excuse to leave his trainer. Because I believe his trainer is just as important as the fighter itself. As for George Groves, he just hasn't been up to task. If you go back and listen to my videos way back, what I said in the first Froch fight, that Groves has jumped into this Froch fight too early in his career, and he needed more learning fights. A lot of people said to me I was talking rubbish, bollocks, all the rest of it. And of course I said the Froch would come from behind and stop George Groves, and he did that, and in the rematch he knocked him out convincingly. Then people are still talking about George Groves being this world-class fighter. I said George Groves would get beat by Badou Jack. Don't be surprised if Badou Jack drops George Groves. He ends up dropping George Groves. I still think it's a complete outrage that George Groves got beat by Badou Jack. No, George Groves isn't that great a fighter. He has never been that great a fighter. He punches. He's based. A lot of his recent hype is around the fact that he dropped Carl Froch, whoopie doodah, but so did Jermaine Taylor. I don't hear a lot of people talk about Jermaine Taylor dropping Carl Froch, probably because Jermaine Taylor was undisputed middleweight champion, and whether you want to like it or not, he beat Bernard Hopkins. But I don't hear people saying, "Oh, he beat Bernard Hopkins," or he dropped Carl Froch. But for George Groves, that's his claim to fame. He dropped Carl Froch in the first fight. Yep, and then what happened? He got his ass handed to him in the first fight and the second fight. So I don't hear any crap about that. And then the other thing is George Groves is world class. What world class fighter has George Groves actually beaten? And who has he knocked out of world quality? Who has he actually knocked out of world quality? I keep asking George Groves fans this, And he still can't come up with the answer. Yes, you knocked down Carl Froch, and you beat up our old Glenn Johnson. Yeah, and Glenn Johnson literally, I believe, had retired and came back. So, and? Oh yeah, he beat James DeGale. Well, I don't think he beat James DeGale. I think he was given the fight because politically, a lot of people didn't like James DeGale. And they didn't like the idea of DeGale beating George Groves. But George Groves fights the same way in every single fight. The first 6 rounds he's okay, and then after that he tails off, runs out of gas, and I don't know. He's always had stamina issues for me. If you can correct the stamina issues, maybe, but I think George Groves is a bit long in the tooth now. So, what does this prove? George Groves versus Martin Murray. Martin Murray's had 4 world title attempts. He's just not good enough. And at super middleweight, does he punch hard enough? I believe if George Groves and Martin Murray do fight, I believe that George Groves is going to have to add a little bit more to his armory. He's going to have to be able to box, give angles. The George Groves that fought under Adam Booth, the mover, I would have seen him giving Martin Murray fits. But the George Groves that wants to hold his feet now and throw big bombs, that's a problem. Because after you throw your big bombs and you tie after 6 rounds, and if Martin Murray is still around, the next 6 rounds are going to be hell for George Groves, and he'll tire. And that's why I think Martin Murray can actually overpower George Groves down the stretch physically if he goes with the right game plan. And the only way Martin Murray's going to have the right game plan is he needs to get rid of that trainer, Oliver Harrison. I'm sorry, that's just what it is. I can't, and I believe that if he had a better trainer in his corner, he might have been a world champion. He would have had enough to have got over the edge against Sturm, and definitely had enough to get over the edge against Sergio Martinez. Don't get me wrong, Martin Murray's a good fighter, but there's a good fighter doesn't mean you're going to be a world champion. But if I'm going to go anywhere, if George Groves can get back to the George Groves that fought under Adam Booth with the movement, I'd pick him to beat Martin Murray. I pick him to beat Martin Murray. But if it's a George Groves that's holding his feet and doing what he's done in recent fights, then Martin Murray late. Those are my thoughts. But I do think Martin Murray needs a change of trainer and a change of direction. I really do. I think it would be good for his career. And as for George Groves, yet to be seen what Shane McGuigan can actually do with George Groves. Is George Groves prepared to listen to his new trainer in Shane McGuigan, or is he going to just do things his own way? It just seems from all the stories I've heard about George Groves is that he wants to be his own boss, and then when the losses come, then he's blaming the trainer and everybody else but himself. I can't say this is true or not because I've never met George Groves, but from the outside looking in, and that's all it is, these are my observations. Let me know what you guys think about this fight, George Groves versus Martin Murray. Let's hope and pray it's not pay-per-view. Don't forget to rate and subscribe, leave your comments. I'm out of here. Take care.